Hey everyone, so I'm recording today from the beautiful Blouberg beach near Cape Town in South Africa. It's a lovely day, people are out, skies are blue, the water looks great, sand is warm. I'm hoping that the wind's not going to play too much in this one. A little bit windy, but I've got the microphone tucked away, so we should be okay. It's a beautiful day, don't take my word for it, have a look at this. Okay, so welcome to Blouberg. Like I said, white sands, people are out, not a lot of them. The water, all told, is a little bit murkier than it often is. You won't really be able to see over there, but that little ship in the distance, that spit of land just behind it, that's Robben Island. But here's the best part about being on Blouberg Beach, okay? We pan this way, there you go, Table Mountain. Still one of the best views in the world. The thing I like about the seawater, I don't know, it's not just the sound, it's not the feel of it. There's something timeless, there's something almost eternal about getting into that water. And I don't know, it makes me feel somehow that there are things that are much, much bigger than me, that there's possibilities, that the possibilities are endless. And it's like when the water initially washes over me, and I don't mind this cold stuff, not like you guys from up country. But when the water initially washes over me, and I get that feeling somehow that those droplets of water, the molecules, the atoms, have been somewhere, have been places, have traveled. You get the feeling that things are much bigger than you originally thought, and that we as human beings sometimes, I think we run the risk of just taking ourselves far too seriously. And it's stuff like this, it's moments like this that grounds me as a person. And you're wondering why I'm actually going into this and why I'm telling you this. And I'm doing this because I want to give you a bit of an insight into the guy behind the video. Sort of something about my psyche, something about me, something about how I feel about things, something about what drives me, what I like, what I don't like. And the reason for that is because the video I want to go into today is on another subject that's particularly close to me. And that's character development. How a character develops, what you do with a character. There are right ways to do things, I think, and there are wrong ways to do things. And I'm really going to take it from my perspective and tell you what I think about this one. So first of all, what's the big deal anyway? Why do we need to worry about it? What's so important about character development, about developing a character? When you've got a story, okay? You write the story, you progress it from this point to that point. Why do you need to spend so much time on your characters? I'll tell you why, and you're going to recognize this, okay? When you read a book, when you watch a movie, be it a series, a TV show, whatever the case may be, you've read an epic book, what's in that particular story you don't remember the events of that story quite as much as you remember the people. There's a character in there that you resonate with, that you've identified with, that really works for you, that you can see yourself being that particular person. You know what I mean by this. You've done it, you've read it, you've seen exactly what I'm talking about. Long after the events of the story are forgotten, you remember the people in that story, and those are the books, those are the movies, those are the other series, those are the things that you will now go and recommend to other people. Now, when most people think character development, they think description, and I'm going to tell you why I think that's wrong. I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you that's wrong. I don't really want you to do it that way. When you develop a character, you're not describing that character. I don't really want you to say, okay, here's Joe. Joe is a police detective. He became a detective at 26. He's a big guy, lots of muscles. He's well oiled. He dresses like this and this and this. His hair looks like this. He's this tall. He's this weight. I don't really want you to do that. That's not developing a character. That's describing a character. And the reason why I don't like to over-describe something, be it a person or a place or an event, is because, you see, your job as a writer is to take your readers and put them into a situation. And those people are not going to be able to identify with a situation if you describe it too much. Think about this, for example. If I said that if I'm writing something, I write a piece and one of my characters is sitting in a hospital room, do I really need to describe the hospital room? You know what it looks like. If you look to your left, you'll see the nurse's station. You look ahead, there might be a television on the wall. There's probably a table in front of you with magazines or maybe one next to you. Inevitably, the chairs are in little rows. They're often plastic covered. There might be a door into the hospital over there. You see, you know this by just closing your eyes and thinking it. You don't have to think about what it looks like. If I simply tell you I'm sitting in a hospital waiting room, if that's what you're reading, you already know what that looks like. Why do you want to rob your reader of that experience, of being able to see the scene in their mind? In the same way, why do you want to over-describe a character and also rob your reader of that experience? See, the best characters are the ones that your readers are going to identify with, they're going to resonate with, they're going to see a little bit of themselves in that. And when you describe the character too much, people stop seeing themselves in that character. And if they stop doing that, they're no longer in your story. That's just a simple fact. So then how do you develop a character? How do I develop a character? I think my characters are pretty good. Other people have said my characters are pretty good. They can resonate, they can relate to my characters. They enjoy my characters. My characters build over time throughout books, throughout stories. And I do it in a very particular way. And this is the way that I want to put across to you today, okay? I would like you, I'm going to make a statement here, and then I'm going to tell you why I think this. I would prefer that you develop your characters not through description, not through describing the character, but through dialogue. Let me explain. I want you to, right now, at this point in the video, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Just close your eyes, and I want you to think of a person that you're particularly close to. I want you to think of someone. It could be a family member, it could be a friend. I want you to bring that person into your mind's eye, and I want you to look, just look at that particular person. What does he or she look like? How do they stand? What hairstyle? Do they wear caps? Do they not? Do they wear hoodies? Do they not? What is their favorite type of clothing? Have they got a particular kind of walk? Do they favor one leg to another? Do they talk with their hands like I do, or do they really sit still and not do that? Look at that person and take in every single detail, so that if I ask you to describe that person to me, I want you to give me as detailed a description of that person as possible. And then when you've done that, I want you to think to yourself now, if you had seen that person for the first time, what would you know about them? Oh, you'd know they like these type of shirts, they have this type of hairstyle, they might have this colored eyes, they move their mouth in a particular way, they move their head in a particular way, they do things with their hands. But that's all you'd know. And would that tell you anything about the person at all? No, I don't think it would. How do you know who your friend is, who that family member is, the person you're close to? How do you know who they are as a person? It's because you've spoken to them, isn't it? And they have in turn spoken to you. And as you've spoken to them, and as you've spent time with them, and as you've conversed, and as you've joined together as people, you've learned things. You've learned about what they like and what they don't like. You've learned things about their personality. You've learned that they might have a phrase that they repeat often, and it's an endearing phrase, and it's something that you're always going to remember. Even if you fall out of touch with that person, you're always going to remember that, hey, so-and-so, when they say the word nine, they say nine. Hey, that guy, how much is that anyway? Oh, it's $9.99, okay? We're going to go down to the line. People say things in certain ways. And their personality comes out so much when you learn who they are through dialogue, through what they say and how they say it. So when you want to develop a character, stay away from over-describing the character. By all means, say some things, okay? You want to paint a slight picture in a person's mind. And sometimes your character has to have a defining personality. Maybe there's a limp because it's part of the story, or there's a broken arm because it's part of the story. And if that's the case, then go ahead and do so. But it's when you start to let your characters speak that they really start to come out. The way they say things, the kinds of accent they might have. They might have a particular catchphrase or something that they say now and again. But it's through the dialogue that you suddenly become aware that that person in the story that you thought was a cool guy because he looked this way or did that is really an arrogant idiot, and you don't particularly like him. That one guy that you thought is all kind of nerdy and you're staying away from, they sit there in one side of the school or one side of the classroom, whatever it is, or they like this, and you've never really, and as soon as you start to let that character speak, you start to realize how much you actually like them, how much that you resonate with them, and how much you identify and how much you guys actually have in common. And you start to become like that character. You start to see yourself in that character. At the same time, there might be someone you don't like, and you don't like that character at all. They speak this way, you don't like it. And you can create that purposely through dialogue. So the key here is simple dialogue. And I'm going to give you an exercise to show you how this works. In this particular video, I'm really not going to go deeply into how to develop a character through dialogue. That's a much deeper something, and it's something I'm going to develop over time in another video as we start to look into exactly how you use language, how you use dialogue to advance a character. I just want you to understand why it's so important that you have your characters speak. H.P. Lovecraft is a cult classic, okay? He's an important guy in the book world. I don't particularly enjoy his stuff. I'll probably get shot down for that, and that's okay. I don't care. The point is that H.P. Lovecraft, and maybe I'm lying when I say this, I don't remember it exactly, but I think that he has had plus minus more or less 500 incidents of dialogue throughout his entire writing career. That's not a lot, okay? I'm a character guy, and I don't think Lovecraft did a lot with his characters. He did a lot with his scenery, he described it beautifully, and he moved things from one thing to the next, but I don't think he's a good character guy. If you want my opinion on the best character guys, it's people like Stephen King. Stephen King is a master, and I take a lot of what I've learned from his example. But I'm going to give you an exercise now in how to start thinking about dialogue, and this is how it goes. The next time you find yourself out in public and you've got the opportunity to look at someone, to look at people without being too creepy and looking like a stalker, this is what I want you to do. Maybe you're sitting in a coffee shop, a restaurant, whatever the case may be, and that couple across from you, have a look at them and start to pay attention to the little details. So have a look at them, look at what they're doing, look at how they're interacting with each other, how are they eating. Sure, you want to look at what they're wearing, how they use their head, how they use their hands. Start paying attention to those little details. And then I want you to think, while they're having a conversation with someone, I want you to put into your own mind what you think they're saying to each other. Make it up. Give them names. So Bob and Sally are sitting in a restaurant, and you can see them, and Bob looks like this, and Sally looks like that. And Bob's saying something. What is he saying? Does Sally look a little bit taken aback and slightly upset by what Bob is saying? Well, maybe it's something serious. Is she laughing? Did he tell a joke? Does Bob laugh? Did she tell a joke? Start to make up the dialogue between those two people, because it's going to give you an idea in your mind about how it starts to work. That's the first thing to do. That is what I want you to get into a habit of doing. Watch people and imagine what they're saying. Imagine what they're saying and imagine what it might say about who they are, about their personalities, about their hopes, about their dreams, about their psyches, about what they might like and what they might not like. So remember that when it comes to character development, what a person says is more important than how they look. How a person reacts to another and interacts with another is more important than how they look. How a person says something and how they bring themselves across tells you more about a person than how they look. It's true when they say don't judge a book by its cover and don't judge a character by how they look. Sometimes the strangest looking people turn out to be the coolest ones. Sometimes the coolest looking people turn out to be, well, you don't like them very much, okay? So pay attention to what a person says more than what a person physically looks like. You can't tell a person's personality by their choice of hairstyle, but you can tell a person's personality by the things they say, by how they interact and how they hold themselves in a conversation. On that note, I'm going to end this one off here. And I am going to say that I'm going to take this forward. What I've told you now is why you should use dialogue to advance a character, to develop a character, rather than description. In the next video, in the next couple of videos, it might be a bigger subject that I actually want to go into. I'm going to describe to you how I go about using dialogue to advance a character and how it works for me and how you can make it work for you. So, hey, thanks for watching. Like I said, here we are on beautiful Blouberg Beach. If you've enjoyed this content, drop a comment, give me a like. Before you go, if you haven't done so already, hit subscribe, hit the like button so you can keep up to date with all my tips, tricks, news, views, information. And until next time, read a lot, write a lot, and pay attention to strangers out in public, okay? Have a look at them, not just what they look like, but imagine what they are saying. And until next time, cheers.